Hello, guys. Pleasure. We're over here with the world. Check this out here. We got, check it out. The world there. Nice globe and fun library type setting. Let's aim for humanity, like this book up here, Body Watching, just talking about looking at different people and realizing that we're all one unity, and in the process of current and future reincarnations, investing in our future incarnations instead of being uncertain or envious about because maybe our current body is not as attractive at a certain standard that we'd like. Instead, just going to the God mode, the mode of consciousness, pure and ultimate, and looking down on society like monkeys walking around. And how can we improve this society? What can we do genetically to, whether by science or by selective breeding, where maybe your body isn't attractive to your standard, your preference. Invest in somebody else's body, someone that you see, and this brings me to this topic of sexual compatibility, where there's a certain air of confusion. Simply put, each person should not be approaching it from a place of, men or women want a certain body parts. Instead, they should be looking at it like, okay, I am an individual, I have certain qualities, and I only want to be with somebody who finds me attractive. And furthermore, that there's a mutual attraction. And in that sense, you're not just generalizing by saying, oh, I wish men or women found me attractive, or, I wish this person. It's explicit. It's, you meet people. And obviously with the internet, or, if the internet's not an option, even just with pictures, or you can, but the internet, really works. In the past, people used to do letter writing, and this allows you to exchange information with each other. Today, obviously, we can send letters and pictures, so intimate pictures, and such to show what our bodies are, and that. And it's important. It's important to not leave any mystery. Make it science. Not make it like, oh, I hope we can pleasure each other. And by the way, in terms of pleasuring, guess what? There's men and women, and this idea of bigger is better, or that, it's not of great consequence, because it's the same thing as saying, is woman's, different vagina size is better. It's not a specific enough approach to the matter. What the issue is how can we live in a society that's positive and progressive, and is oriented around love and wholesomeness. And part of that is by dissolving the idea that, oh, you're going to go to hell, or you're a bad person if you're promiscuous. Although I believe that that's the case, that you're going to a dark place if you engage in those behaviors which contradict yourself and your dream mate. Of course, if somebody's not your dream mate, then they're not your dream mate, So it's like you're wasting your time with and energy with some random person, and all this does is create conflict and discomfort between people, because people are, and don't think of it as envy. Think of it as, you look at someone, or they're engaging in promiscuous, casual, informal, non-committal, half-hearted behavior, be it in their relationships or otherwise, and you kind of, you can either say, oh, I don't like this person, um, they're you know because they have a lot of health or physical attraction or wealth, but that's not why you don't like them. The reason you don't like them is because you disapprove of the their misuse of their body or wealth. So you can you can you can um, you can capitalize upon that principle by suggesting that to yourself that I am a person who wants good for other people. I care about people, and if you're able to manage your own needs, desires, and wants, uh, by yourself, then you can truly be what's the term, un unconditional lovingly or respectful towards other people with no expectations. You can look at a person that you're attracted to and want good for them, want a dream mate for them, want them to have, and a lot of times it may mean avoiding people. It may mean categorizing somebody as a questionable, deviant, or undesirable person, and not hoping that they'll, uh, not waiting for them to kind of tell you who they are, but really observing and looking and listening to who they are. You know, a person, they generally will identify themselves as whether they, are high class or not. The idea of class is associated with joy, and you can't be joyful if you're pursuing promiscuous engagements and just in the pursuit of sex and not soul. There's no envy and of, you wouldn't want to be any of these people involved in like non-committal relations or in on pornographic films, where obviously it'd be great if it was a couple, a married couple, loving, making fun and entertaining adult movies, but often that's not the case, and so what the issue of concern is you know those people are not worthy of envy. They're not happy people. You can't be happy and just be giving all your energy and passion and sexual, and effort to random people. You got to give it to yourself. Replenish. Obviously, that's self-intimacy, masturbatory activation, and then in turn give it to your dream mate. And there have been questions arisen on my channel directed to, the idea of a dream mate. How viable is it? It's up to the individual if they see. I think no intimacy until marriage, quote unquote, no sex till marriage is the path to joy, because it eliminates conflicts and even competition, because when you watch the media and entertainment or pornography, you kind of have this idea that love's based upon only physical elements, but love is actually something that can occur with people who it's more subtle than that. It's like how the sound of a person's voice, the kind of the things they're into, the way they, just wherever they are, the way a person's demeanor, people are connect because they find more subtle like qualities. a lot of people are physically attracted to each other. That's something also to consider. So that's not enough, and it's also not enough to say, oh, this person's friendly, they're nice, their personality. The physical and that friendly attraction is not enough, because lots of people, have that in common. You've got to be more specific when it comes to your dream mate, and of course your dreams. That's you. That's the real you. That's your truth. That's your soul. Uh, so things to remember are you're either pursuing things for your soul or for sex, and not feel upset when people express deviant things, like rude things, like in public, talking about personal lives or sexual matters. Instead, just be a scientist. Record, document who these people are. Don't forget what they've done. Maybe if you're positioned, report them to authorities or whatnot. Or say report them to the management, whatever, if it's in a workplace environment or whatnot. Sometimes you're not in a position to report people. Sometimes you want to do it like a month later, so it's anonymous and they can't trace it back to who it was that reported them. You got to be careful, because people can retaliate. And that's just a side note, in which it's usually advised against retaliation, vengeance, even if it may seem morally appropriate or well placed, because it could set you in a it could get you yourself in problems with the law and justice, prison, and it could also make them want to further retaliate against you or people they know, or they could target your loved ones or business, whatever it may be. This is a world where people are more vulnerable, because there's information out there and people can move around, and uh, in any case, avoid going out at night, especially around people who are consuming alcohol. Watch this. Behave as if your dream mate is there for you, rooting for you. For example, sometimes it can be tempting, especially if you have a car or bicycle, to move fast and move dangerously. Especially if you're empowered in some way. Maybe you have some money, so you feel like I want to do stuff, and that can really or maybe you're listening to music and you hyped up, and that gets you. You got to be careful, because all this stuff is wanting attention from other people. It can get you into trouble and make you a target for people who are, whatever, they don't, for every reason they don't like you. So you got to think of it in terms of do stuff for your dream mate. Okay, even you might not, you might not be able to figure out, how to respect yourself, but think of it through the eyes of your dream mate watching you and want the best for you and that relationship with them. And imagine they're watching you, and so do things to protect your body for their sake. And you really got to think of it like, this is how I think. I'm not ready for my dream mate yet, and this isn't like mental programming, like law of attraction, like I'm ready for money. I want money or I don't want money, or I'm good or bad. No, this is something else. This is I'm not ready for my dream mate yet, because I haven't refined myself in my career. You know, part of the reason it's a little different for me is because I want to have children, and I think a man and woman shouldn't get together until they're immediately ready to have children, because anything before that is just a distraction, because you need to figure out your business and everything, and have security and have a house before you have children. So having a wife and children, or a pregnant wife, is going to be even make it more difficult to work hard, and may even obligate you to do certain forms of work and do certain work that you may either not be interested in, or may be questionable, maybe questionable in terms of its legitimacy. Um, so just be aware of these things. It's so transcend societal expectations of you have to do this, you have to have children, whatever. Maybe the world doesn't need children, more children, and that maybe at this time in history we need more coordination and working together to help the children that are suffering and are the populations of people who have difficulties, and just aim towards a world that you'd want to reincarnate into. That's the big one. That's why I suggest, if you don't like your body, invest in a couple whose bodies you find attractive, because their grandchild will be you, potentially. Because the world that you improve today, you'll reincarnate into next lifetime. Thanks for considering. Aloha.